Hey guys, let's answer question number 1 here. The sum of two integers is -3 and their difference is -7. What are the two integers? Graph the system. So we're going to have to write our two equations, graph them, and see if we can figure out what this answer should be. Now, obviously, you could use guess and check and try to figure this out. But the sure way, the quicker way to me is usually just to graph them and see where they cross, right? The sum of two integers is -3. So that the sum means we're going to add two numbers together to get -3. So I like to just use x and y. So x plus y has to equal -3, right? And their difference of these same two numbers, their difference, it's got to be the same two numbers, is -7. Well, if it's the same two numbers, we're going to use x and y again, right? But this time it's difference. So x minus y has to equal -7. So again, you could be thinking of numbers that maybe would work, but I think it'll be quicker if we just get these ready to graph and graph them. So we know that to graph them, we need them to be in slope-intercept form. We need them to be y equals mx plus b. That means we need to get the y by itself, right? So on this first one, I got to bring that x to the other side. So I know to get rid of a positive x, I'm going to subtract x. Whenever I do to one side of the equation, I do to the other side, right? So x minus x cancels out. I'm left with y equals. That's what I want to happen. Now this says -3 minus, remember this x is really a 1x, right? Well, these aren't like terms. This one has an x, this one doesn't. So I can't add them or subtract them. So I'm going to bring them both down. I want to put the one with the x first, though. So I'm going to put -1x first, and then I'm going to put -3 behind it. Some people like to write that as plus a -3. I usually just write it as -3. So this is my first equation. Remember, to graph it, I'd want to make the slope a fraction. So this would be my first equation. The second one, let's change it to blue here. Again, I'm trying to get y by itself. Let's just add our ones from the beginning. Maybe that'll help us. So I want to get rid of that 1x and bring it to the other side first. So it's a positive. You look in front of it. There's nothing in front of it, so it's positive. So I'm going to subtract 1x from both sides, right? This cancels out. This time I'm left with a negative or a -1y. I got to bring that negative with it, right? So again, I don't have like terms. I'm going to bring down my -1x, and I'm going to bring down my -7. Now I still got to get rid of that -1 next to the y. Remember, this is -1 times y. Well, to undo times, I know I have to divide, right? I'm going to divide. So I'm going to divide both sides by -1, because -1 divided by -1 makes a positive 1y, or like we just like to write it as y. You don't have to put that positive 1. Now I'm going to divide the whole thing over here by -1. So I got to divide both of these numbers here. So -1 divided by -1 is positive. A negative divided by a negative is a positive. And then again, a -7 divided by -1, a negative divided by a negative, again, is a positive. So I think this equation is going to look like this. Now, I got to make that number a fraction again. So here's my two lines. Let's graph the first one. So it's telling me to start at -3 on the y-intercept, the y-axis. And it's telling me to go down 1 and right 1, right? Down 1, right 1, down 1, right 1. This one would have a lot of dots, right? But it's pretty quick to do it because it's following that pattern, right? So I'm going to quickly make all those dots. Once I got all those dots, I'm going to draw my line. Okay, so that's the first equation. The second one, let's change to blue here. It's telling me to start at +7. Well, here's 5, 6, 7. +7 on the y-axis. The y-intercept is +7. And it's telling me to go up 1 and right 1. So up 1 and right 1. Well, I quickly run out of room, right? So once I run out of room, I got to go back and do the opposite. I'm going to go down 1 and left 1. This is how we get them to cross, right? They're going to overlap right here. But I'm going to keep going. So here's my second line. Well, they cross at one point, which means they have one solution. So let's see where they cross. X comma y. They cross at -5, +2, right? They cross at -5, +2. I think this is my solution. Well, let's check it. -5 plus 2, well, that's -3. Yep, that's right. And if I do -5 minus 2, that makes -7. So this checks. This problem has one solution, -5, 2. Thanks for watching.